Moving on to a massive CNN News 18 exclusive news break, we've accessed details of that all talked about Pakistan-Saudi Arabia strategic mutual defense agreement. A top defense official in the know of the proceedings has informed us that under this agreement, Pakistan will deploy its military might in Arabian Peninsula to protect Saudi Arabia from any aggression. The Pakistan Air Force and naval officials will work with Saudi Arabian Air Force and naval forces for joint operations, trainings and joint exercises. Top sources have also informed us that Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal will visit Saudi Arabia in the last week of October. Remember, this is a deal that has raised many eyebrows, particularly some concerns as far as India's point of view is concerned as well. Under this agreement, it seems there is defense protection for Saudi Arabia with Pakistan's military to be deployed in case of any aggression against Saudi Arabia, but also economic considerations for Pakistan. My colleague Akansha is also joining us with more on this. Akansha, it's the defense agreement which talks about how Pakistan will deploy its forces in protection of Saudi Arabia against any aggression. Tell us more.
Right. These are inputs shared by Securities Editor Manoj Gupta, and what we are being told from his sources is that Pakistan will be supplying military equipment, ammunition, mortars, tanks and short-range missiles to Saudi Arabia, and they will initially deploy 25,000 soldiers in Saudi Arabia's different military bases and cities. Pakistani soldiers will get a minimum of 6,000 Saudi riyals, or $200 more than US peacekeeping soldiers earn. In fact, Shivani, Pakistan's one military brigade, remember, consists of 8 units, and one military unit has 850 soldiers. So the 4 military brigades will also comprise of armored, artillery, infantry and rocket forces units. Pakistan will appoint a 3-star lieutenant general, 2 major generals and 8 brigadiers for their forces command work in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is, of course, keen to purchase JS-17 Thunders from Pakistan and J-10Cs from China, likely to hold talks with Beijing also on 5th-generation jets against any odds of Israel. In return, Saudi Arabia will invest $10 billion US in Pakistan's infrastructure, economic interests, even mining, energy and security sector. So this is of critical importance because that answers your question that this is what Saudi Arabia will be giving to Pakistan in return. It will make sure that it protects Pakistan from economic default and sanctions in future, but that doesn't require any kind of strategic protection because that's a big question that foreign policy analysts have been raising, that where was Saudi Arabia despite the security agreement when the recent Afghanistan-Pakistan conflict took place, Shivani. So Saudi Arabia is going to boost its bilateral trade with Pakistan from $5 billion to $15 billion. They will use their good offices and diplomatic channels to normalize Islamabad's ties with world, especially in New Delhi and even Kabul, is what we are being told. So when it comes to concerns with regards to India, India is, remember, Saudi Arabia's one major trading partner. Riyadh will try to make a balance and a healthy environment among New Delhi and Islamabad on all issues. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan will establish a hotline on intelligence sharing and cooperation. And Saudi Arabia's top defense delegation is also likely to visit Pakistan this month for security talks. And Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir will be visiting Saudi Arabia in the last week of October. Remember, it was on our channel, CNN News 18, that we reported that Saudi was not seen during Pakistan and Afghanistan war.
Yes, Akansha, thanks a lot for breaking down those details for us. Colonel Rohit Dev, a defense expert, is also joining us. More of the contours of this strategic partnership between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan are coming out, Colonel Dev. What do you think could be India's concerns? Because it seems like Saudi Arabia wants more defense cooperation while they're willing to give more funds to Pakistan. Should India be worried?
So there are 3 aspects to it, and India should be worried only about one of them. The first is service which Pakistan military has signed off to provide to Saudi Arabian interest. And in that, basically what is happening is that they're getting paid for providing those military services. But I'm not too sure if Pakistan can afford those services while it is fighting with the Afghanistan entity, with the Balochistan entity, and also wants to pick up cudgels with India. So that's making them thin on ground. That's for them to decide where all they want to get hammered, because options to get hammered are plenty. The second part is about how to stop this money inflow, and that is a concern for India. Because if you go back into time to the era of 2014 end, when late Sushma Swaraj was, using all the diplomatic might to ensure the Middle East does not fund Pakistan, and we were aiming at countries including Qatar at that time. Saudi Arabia, quite differently, has been a very good strategic kind of a outlook partner with India in that term, and they have agreed to what we have been telling them all through. So I still presume that against Indian interests, nothing will be given to Pakistan to fund its jihad. That's our concern, right? And that is where the matters will be very clear bilaterally between India and Saudi Arabia as well. The third aspect, which is there for us to look at, is this intelligence sharing business with Pakistan is one part. But I'm quite sure India's prowess today to convince Saudi Arabia of our strategic interests, our bilateral interests going forward, because don't forget that what actually Saudi Arabia looks in India is huge investment and growth and trade to happen, which Pakistan cannot provide. So I think the economic balance is tilted quite heavily in favor of India. And Saudi Arabia will do nothing to, spoil that relationship.
Yes, so because Saudi Arabia continues to be a pretty important partner for India. Colonel Rohit Dev, I do thank you for joining us.